So this is Tony from Cage Confessions, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Oktagon MMA's latest heavyweight signing, Jack Ross. Jack, welcome to the channel. Thanks for your time. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
All good. All the better for speaking to you. And again, appreciate your time this evening. And it's a huge signing for Octagon. Very exciting in the heavyweight division. Now, can you just sort of talk us through that process of signing with Octagon and what was it about Octagon that sort of, piqued your interest?
Yeah, 100%. So I fought in January, my second pro fight against a tough veteran. Not a great record, but just a tough dude. All the guys he's fought are either ex-UFC or rising prospects, and he's just a tough guy. We had a good fight. I was pretty sick going into it. Ended up winning a decision. And that same night, I had a teammate of mine, Josh Parisian, who fought in the UFC. I don't know
Yeah.
how many, he probably had 8 or 9 fights in the UFC. He was fighting for Octagon. So my coach wasn't with me. He was in Germany, I think it was,
Yeah.
cornering Josh. Josh was fighting a guy, last name Toda, I forget his first name. Um, yeah,
Lazar
Lazar.
Toda. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's it.
yeah.
Yeah. So Josh ended up losing, and I ended up winning the fight. So my coach comes home and he's just telling me about the experience. He's like, dude, Octagon, it's like the UFC, because we've had a bunch of guys go to the UFC and gals, and he's cornered in the UFC a bunch. He's like, from a just operation standpoint, it's very similar. They're super professional. The crowd's amazing. The venues are great. Um, it could be something for you to just think about.
Yeah.
Uh, because I was fighting, I think it was January the 30th. And then I had another fight scheduled in February. I think it was February 20th
20th.
or
Yeah.
22nd, right in
Yeah.
there. Um, so we had this next fight coming up. So he was like, focus on this, recover, train for the next couple weeks. And then let's sit down, weigh our options, and maybe if it makes sense, we'll reach out to Octagon. Um, so, kept my mind on the next fight, ended up winning that one, which was cool. It was, in my hometown. I'm from Michigan.
Yeah.
Uh, and I hadn't fought in Detroit in a while. It had been a couple of years. So won that fight, and we were sitting down, kind of game planning our next move. There had been some talks about going to LFA. I had a couple I had a fight scheduled with Anthony Pettis's league. I think it's APFC,
Yeah.
and that fallen through, and they wanted to get me signed on to do another fight. And there were a couple other organizations, and my coach said, you know what, before we commit to signing, a 3 or 4 fight deal with any of these organizations who are all great, um, let's see if Octagon would be interested in signing you. Um, so we reached out, we started having those conversations, and luckily it worked out. I think Josh Parisian left a really good impression on them, even though, it wasn't his best performance, just, the professionalism from him and my coach, everybody got along. And um, so here we are now. I signed a 6 fight deal with Octagon, and excited to get it going.
Excellent. And obviously you've watched Josh's fight. Pre that, was you aware of Octagon as a promotion coming from the States? Because it's very
No,
unusual and it's obviously a European based promotion as well. So just
yeah.
kind of cautious if you was aware of Octagon or had it.
No, wasn't aware at all. So I think our plan had always been, okay, we're gonna win these 2 fights, get to 3-0 as a pro, and let's sign for LFA, let's sign for APFC, one of these regional organizations, maybe get 2 or 3 fights in, and then
Yeah.
try to get on the contender series. Or there's a promotion that I always wanted to fight for. Hey, is it Cage Warriors? They're big in Europe
Cage
too.
Warriors. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was always, maybe we'll see if Cage Warriors would sign me. I don't know. But no, I had never heard of Octagon. Um, and so when I found out about it, and I was like, holy crap, look at
Yeah.
the venues they're fighting out of. Look at these crowds, oh my God, look at the pay-per-view. It's like a real production.
Yeah.
It was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
No-brainer.
And yeah, some huge crowds, some great venues and stuff. And just through looking through your social media, you appear to be outside of the cage a fan of, Europe. I notice you've made a few trips over here as well. So it must be exciting as an American, not just for the fight, but to actually, come to these places that you may not have kind of traveled to and tick those off as well.
100%. So my first time in Europe, I was actually at Oktoberfest
Right.
a
Yeah,
couple
I
years
think I
ago,
saw
which
you
was
in
awesome.
some Lederhouse, and that was
Right, right. It was super fun, and I wish I could remember all of it, but here. It was a great time, and we got to check out an Eintracht Frankfurt game. I'm a massive soccer football fan.
Okay.
Uh, so we did that. It was amazing. I was over in the United Kingdom last summer during
Was that for
Wimbledon.
was
So
that for Oasis for an Oasis concert as well? I saw.
Oasis,
Yeah.
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 So just a quick side story. I've always been an Oasis fan,
Right.
which is they're just not big in America. But
Yeah.
you go to like a college university here, and everybody just plays Wonderwall.
Yeah.
And all the bars. Like I'm so sick of hearing Wonderwall because I love all their other music. I actually don't like the song Wonderwall. Um, and I remember I was sitting in my apartment scrolling Twitter, and I saw the tweet that they're getting back together.
Yeah.
And I messaged my buddy. I'm like, dude, I know you don't know who Oasis are. I don't really care. We're going. We're finding a way to go. This is summer of 2024. Like I'm getting tickets. We're figuring it out. We're going. So we were able to, there was like the whole lottery thing, and we
Yeah.
got tickets for the Cardiff show, the second show. Um, we went, best concert ever. And then we got the opportunity to see them in Chicago when they came to America.
Right.
So yeah, super fun.
Favorite Oasis song while we're off on a tangent. What's your
Uh, Favorite song's a tough one. I walked out for my last fight. I walked out to Acquiesce.
right? Okay.
Love that song. Uh, I like Roll With It. I love running to Roll With It. Even though it's like not the most popular song,
Yeah.
it's just like a good vibe. I've been loving Whatever. I love Whatever. The live versions I think are better.
Yeah.
There's a live version of Whatever when Noel's singing it. Might have been a show in Scotland. I don't remember. It was like 2004. It's the best live version of that song.
Yeah.
But why are you a fan?
Yeah, well, as a Brit, we kind of have to be, right? That's yeah. No,
Right.
I did see Oasis. I think it was in 2000, and God, I'm showing my age here, but I think it was probably around the time you mentioned from the Scotland show at Wembley.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was the best gig I've ever been to. So
Yeah, they're so good.
yeah, and I didn't actually get tickets this time around because I didn't have any body parts to sell to pay for the ticket. That was
Seriously, if I didn't win the lottery, I was just looking like at the Ticketmaster or whatever the
yeah,
second market is.
yeah,
It was like $1,500 for a ticket. I'm like, who's buying these? And
yeah,
unluckily, they're just not that big in America. So
yeah,
for the Chicago show, I mean, we had amazing seats, and they were maybe $150 each, which is still a lot, but compared to what the shows were over in Europe,
yeah.
it wasn't close. Where are you from
So
in
I live just outside of London, so I live in Essex, which is sort of yeah, 25 minutes on the train into
cool.
central London. So yeah,
Nice.
it's pretty central for most things, to be honest. So. But
Great.
but yeah, so can we expect an Oasis walkout song in your Octagon debut?
100%, 100%. So my buddy who I went with, who's now like this Oasis super fan, I'm telling
Yeah,
him, if you come to the fight, and I always like play this game with him,
yeah,
because in America, I'm fighting all over the
yeah,
country. And I'm like, if you come to my fight, I'll let you choose my walkout song. So I
That's a,
told him, if you come to my fight in Germany, you can choose whatever Oasis song you want. I don't care. You can choose it. So we'll
that's a,
see.
that's a good incentive, isn't it?
Good incentive. I thought
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
In indeed. And obviously you've been announced as joining the Octagon roster. And I imagine you've probably got a date in mind. Nothing's been made official yet by the promotion. Are you currently in a training camp without giving anything away?
Yeah. I'll say that a training camp is going to start in the next 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay.
So we've got a date, we've got an opponent. Um, it'll be a great fight, and we'll have something on the calendar announced soon. It'll be in the summer.
Excellent. Good to hear. And could we just talk as well the very quick turnaround at the start of this year? Because as you mentioned, you fought in January and then just over 2 weeks. How was that sort of experience of turning around so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess the timeline there, I was supposed to fight in, now I gotta think. I was supposed to fight for APFC. I think it was in November.
Yeah, looking at
There
yeah,
was
was that a fight against Hammer Morton? Was that, yeah.
Hammer Morton, yeah.
And
So
that
it
was
was
for
in
Anthony
Mexico.
Pettis' promotion, was it? Yeah.
Right. So I was coming off an injury, nothing serious, no surgery or anything. It was just I tweaked my knee, and I was kind of in physical therapy and just out of training for a couple months. And so last September, I, signed a contract to fight for APFC, did a whole 8-week camp, was getting ready. Hammer Morton's a tough guy. He was going to be a good opponent. And 3 days before I was supposed to fly out, he canceled. There's something happened to him. I don't know. He's claiming an injury. Who knows? So that fight got canceled. And then, I had been kind of planning, all right, I'll fight in November. Thanksgiving for us is it would have been, I think, a week
Yeah.
later. And then it's, the holidays, it's Christmas and New Year's, and I was going out of town for 2 weeks. I was going on vacation in December. So, we got that fight canceled, and it's, here it's just you can get a fight literally any weekend, but those couple weeks in December, because no promotions are putting anything on.
Yeah.
So I think it was the first week of December I got offered a guy. The guy said no, I accepted. And it was all right. Well, I guess I'm going on vacation. We have nothing scheduled, so I went on a vacation. I came back. I was gone for a while, and it was right after New Year's. So it was around the first or second of the year. My coach calls me. He says, "Hey, I got a guy. It'll be a good fight. He's not got a great record, but if you look at his quality opponents, he's fought really tough guys.
Yeah.
Can't overlook him, but it should be a fight.
Yeah.
You should win this fight." It's like, all right, like I just want to fight. I don't care. So let's just give me a date. And it
Yeah.
was that January fight. So it was supposed to be in Alabama. So I'm getting ready for the fight. Um, and again, 2 or 3 days before, I get a call. There was this massive snowstorm that was going across just Southern America.
Right.
And it shut down all planes, it shut down the roads. Like you could not travel in Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi. And I got a call from the promoter. He says, "Jack, this is the first time it's ever happened. The state commission called me and said, we are shutting down your event. The state will have no events this weekend because it's unsafe." So I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah.
There goes my next fight. Um, and so I called my coach and my manager, and I'm just like, guys, like this fight fell through. What are we doing? And thankfully, my manager's like, hey, I have a connection in Ohio. They have a show next week, and I know they were looking for pros. Let's see if we can get you guys on that card. So, that promotion in Ohio, Cage Thunder, I think it is.
Yeah.
Shout out to them because they saved the day. They put us on the card.
Yeah, because I was
Uh,
going to ask you later because it's the same opponent but a week apart. So that
Same
kind of
opponent a
that
week apart. So
right.
the show got canceled because of weather.
Yeah.
So we moved and my opponent agreed. He's a good guy. We moved the show um, to the next weekend and we fought and it was cool. We showed up to weigh-ins that day. He missed weight by it was probably 10 pounds.
Right.
Um, and they just came up to me and they're like, hey, he missed weight. The commission's kind of leaving it up to you. Do you want to cancel the fight? You want to fight? I'm like, dude, I've had my last two fights canceled on me. We're
Yeah.
fighting. I don't, I
Yeah.
don't, it's heavyweight. Like, what's the difference? I found out the difference. But
Yeah.
so we ended up fighting. It was great. I didn't take that much damage. I was in the hospital the whole night before
Right.
with staph infection, um, which just totally killed me. I was on antibiotics. I didn't get sleep. It was by far my worst performance to date. But still happy I got in there, won, didn't really take damage. I remember I was sitting in the back and I was like, I couldn't warm up. I was
Right.
too sick to like stand up. And then, 20 minutes before the adrenaline's kicking in, it's like, all right, well, I'm either fighting or I'm not fighting. So I gotta go.
Yeah.
So we got it done. And then the turnaround was, look, there's another promotion. It's a local show. They put on fights. They said they had a guy for me. And it was, we can fight this guy and then let's reevaluate where we're at and start taking some offers from some regional shows. It was either, we fight this guy in February or APFC had offered me a fight and I think it was April or May. And just
Right.
from my point of view, it's like I was healthy, I'm fine. I don't need to wait another 3 months. Like
Yeah.
strike while the iron's hot. Let's fight. And, I'm 27 now. I just need activity. So I
Yeah.
just need fights. Um, so we fought in Detroit at February 20th and won. And, now we're taking some time off, getting healthy, getting a bit bigger, getting better skills and getting back at it in the
Yeah.
summer. So
Excellent. And obviously you've come from a wrestling background. I think you're Division One college wrestler from Michigan State as far and correct me if I'm wrong there. But so transforming into MMA, what have you found sort of the easiest elements of MMA to pick up? And equally on the flip side, what ones have you struggled with a bit more?
I think the top wrestling has come pretty easy.
Yeah.
Keeping an opponent grounded, just the pressure on top. And I think all wrestlers would say that, guys that come from a good wrestling background,
Yeah.
pinning someone, getting someone in side control, getting someone in half guard, and just not letting them up. I'm pretty good at that. It's tough to get up from under me. The easy answer to what's difficult would be, the stand up initially was
Yeah.
pretty hard. I remember the first time sparring, I'm like in front of a guy and I'm throwing punches and I'm like, why do my hands weigh 100 pounds and why can't I move my feet? You
Yeah.
know? But I think over time I've come to, kind of make my stand up more of a strength for me. I think I'm faster and have better footwork than pretty much every heavyweight out there. I'm tough to hit. So,
Well, you've won two of your fights by TKO, so you're obviously doing something right. Yeah.
yeah, I feel, I've got a head kick knockout as an amateur. My stand-up game has become one of my strong suits. But the I don't know, the tough part always for wrestlers is just learning the ground game from your back. As a wrestler, you're always told never be on your back.
Yeah.
Don't get pinned, and just learning that it's okay to be on your back. You can, throw submissions from your back, especially for a bigger guy.
Yeah.
That's definitely, the tough part to
Yeah,
learn.
and that's I guess the difference when you are pure wrestling compared to wrestling for MMA. That's obviously different because you've got to set things up different, and I imagine that there's a bit of a switch in that as well.
Yeah, and I mean the wrestling part was weird for me because it was I when I was wrestling in college, I would wrestle with my right foot forward,
Right.
but I'm fighting with my left foot forward. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean I was a good wrestler, but it's like I'm learning wrestling now from a completely different stance. None of the setups I used really work anymore. That's why you can see these guys that I would say if I was in a wrestling match with them, I'd smoke them. But when we're MMA wrestling,
Yeah.
they can they can do some damage. They're pretty good because it's just different movements,
Yeah.
different setups. Some things just don't work.
Sure. And what was the main decision for you, Jack, to transition into MMA? And was there ever a career path where you was going to be solely focused on wrestling?
No, truthfully, I wasn't that good of a wrestler. So at least in the terms of like Division I college wrestling, I wasn't a national champion or anything like that. I had actually wrestled in college because of MMA. So I was supposed to play American football in college.
Right.
Um, and I stumbled upon this boxing gym, this MMA gym. And, the summer before I was leaving to go to school, I was 17 years old. And I just fell in love with jujitsu. I fell in love with boxing. I did it every single day that summer. And I decided, you know what? I'm not playing football anymore. I'm going to focus on wrestling. I was lucky enough where I had a spot on Michigan State's team, which is a Big Ten school. It's the best wrestling in the country. And so I would fight every summer between school terms. So I would, go throughout all of school, wrestle, complete the year. And then in the summer, in June or whatever, May, I'd go
Yeah.
back to the MMA gym. I'd start training again and I'd fight in July or I'd fight at the end of August.
Yeah.
Um, so I did that twice. I had my first fight when I was 18. And then I finished out the wrestling and COVID hit, so I couldn't fight in the summers. So I finished out my career at Michigan State and then transitioned to MMA full time.
Okay, cool. And how important do you feel it was getting the amateur fights in before going pro? Because there's a divided opinion. We see a lot of fighters coming in and not even just going straight pro. Skipping the amateurs. But I think it's probably the best learning ground for a pro fighter. So
Yeah,
how
I
do you
think
feel?
it's
Do you agree with
really,
that?
really important. I think looking back, I think I did my amateur career wrong. I wish I did it a little differently. I think these amateur guys, your amateur career, mine was, I don't know, 5 years long, something like that.
Yeah.
And I was, I was fighting once a year because I was in school and I was
Sure.
wrestling full time. But, once I was out of school, I treated every amateur fight like a pro fight. Now
Yeah.
I see guys at my gym do the same thing, and I just want to tell them, like, don't do that. Train, just be in the gym all the time, and then schedule a fight for 2 weeks. Go fight. If you didn't take any damage, go fight in, a month.
Yeah.
Just you should be in shape. You should be training. So that's one thing I wish I did different. But the amateur fighting, I think, if you're young, you have the time to do it. Why wouldn't you do it? It's
Yeah.
free. It's a free experience. If you lose, it legitimately doesn't matter. Nobody looks at a guy's amateur career and
Yeah.
says, "Oh, he lost 8 fights. I'm the UFC. I'm not going to sign him." No one cares. People only care what you do in your pro career.
Absolutely. And then obviously switching to your pro career, you're 3-0 at the moment. How heavy does that O weigh on your shoulders, or does that doesn't even come into your mind when you're locked in the cage?
I mean, it matters and it doesn't matter. I've never lost an MMA fight. I don't know how many I had as an amateur. 6 or 7 maybe. Um, and now 3 as a pro. So, obviously you think about it. I've never lost. I don't want to lose, but I
Yeah.
think my outlook has changed. I've now now I'm fighting not to. I used to fight, I think, or I used to wrestle with the whole goal of not losing.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you're just gonna focus on, well, as long as I win by an inch, then I
Yeah.
won, then lose. And for me now, my outlook's changed. I don't want to not lose. I want to dominate people. I don't want it to be close. I want to break their will. So, the being undefeated, that just kind of comes with it for me.
Yeah.
It's more of an expectation. I kind of expect it of myself. And you know what? If a loss comes, then great. I think I'm at a mental point now in my life where if a loss comes, is my life going to be that different? No, I just lost an MMA fight.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can I can get back on the horse. I can start training again, and we can get back to work. I've lost hundreds of wrestling matches.
Yeah.
I work in kind of a competitive environment. I lose all the time here. Um, it's just part of it.
Absolutely. And focusing now back onto Octagon. Just got kind of curious, and again appreciate you may have just kind of seen some names on social media and the likes. What you make of the heavyweight division? And I did see when the announcement was made that you was very keen that you try and get some revenge for Josh, and I guess Lazar is probably a bit of a longer term goal. But what do you make of the Octagon heavyweight division?
I mean, I think they're tough guys. I think the top guy, um, Irish guy, I can't
Yeah,
remember his
Will
Will
Fleury. Yeah,
Flynn.
yeah,
I mean, he's tough. He's been around the hoop for a while. Um, I want to say something. I'm not going to say it. Maybe I'll message you about it later. But I think I think there's tough guys in the division. It's not an easy, by no means is it an easy roster. As far as I'm concerned, it's the UFC, and I think Octagon's right up there with
yeah,
just talent on the roster. Maybe they can't pull the guys from South America that the UFC can pull, but I mean, there's the toughest dudes in Europe
yeah,
are fighting for Octagon, and if they're not fighting for Octagon, they're probably fighting for the UFC. Um, so it's a good roster. Names wise, I don't know. I don't really worry about that. I'm more worried about myself. Give me a
yeah,
guy to fight, I'll beat him, and let's go fight the next guy. Um, but but there's tough guys. I mean, it'll be a tough challenge, which I'm excited for. I think the one knock on me that a lot of people always say, which I think is stupid, is, well, he's never fought anyone good. Well, talk to people I train with, talk to people I spar with, talk to the good guys that
yeah,
I've taken out in the gym, that I've wrestled with. Some of the guys I fought even that are now having good pro careers, like haven't lost for a reason.
yeah. Absolutely. And what are your thoughts? Obviously, this is Octagon is a European promotion, so it's likely that in most of the fights you're going to be fighting in Europe, in enemy territory to an extent, depending on your opponent. What's your thoughts on marching into someone's backyard? Does that give you a bit more of a bit more motivation, and when you're walking out there and the crowd are maybe booing you, and or have you even experienced that sort of yet in your
Um,
career?
Yeah, I've kind of experienced that. So I fought in Argentina in the Gamma Pan American Games, and I was fighting an Argentinian dude in the gold medal bout.
Right.
And I remember he jabbed me, and it was like a good jab to snap my head back. And I remember the whole place just going nuts when that happened. And I'm like, oh shit, I guess, yeah, this isn't good.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I don't care. I'll fight anyone anywhere. Like to me, it doesn't make a difference. I want people to boo me. It just means they're paying attention, you know.
Yeah.
One day when I win, you know, they'll be cheering for me. It's not every guy I fight is a diehard fan of the guy I'm fighting. They just are born in the same place as he is. So if I knock him out, they're going to be cheering. They're MMA fans.
Yeah.
Um, doesn't really affect me.
Yeah, and I imagine your next trip to Europe is going to be very different from your trips with the and I wanted to ask you this. It seems you and your band of friends call yourself the Sharks. I just wanted to kind of understand what's the background to that?
That that's a great question. The answer to that, that's probably I'll have to tell you offline or
Okay.
in person sometime. But yeah, the Sharks, it's the Sharks on tour. We were just recently in Asia. And I'm hoping they can all come out for the fight.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, we're this one I would think is going to be a lot different
yeah,
than the last trip we went on. Probably
yeah.
a lot less alcohol consumption and more working out. But
Absolutely.
it'll be
And
good.
are there any places in Europe that you would love to fight? I mean, we've got some Octagon shows coming up in Germany, Slovakia, Czech Republic. Is there any kind of bucket list European destinations that you'd love to fight in?
You know, I would love to fight in England. I would
Right.
absolutely love to fight in England. I think the English fans are awesome. You know, going back to the Oasis concert, the soccer games. I've
Yeah.
never been to a game in England, but just I'm a big fan of the Premier League. So when I listen to the chants and I just hear the crowd, I love the English fans. I think they're smart. They understand MMA. I'd love to fight in England. I'd love to fight in Italy because it's just an excuse to go to Italy.
Yeah.
But no, I mean I listen, anywhere is good. You know, it doesn't matter to me. The
Yeah.
crowd is going to be awesome no matter where it is, and the venue is going to be cool, and it's a good production, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And are you likely to have any friends and family? Have they already kind of have you got had any friends, family commit to coming out to see you fight?
So yeah, so I'm hoping that um, I'll have some friends there. My parents are coming. My mom and dad
Yeah.
are coming, which is super
Okay.
cool. I have a girlfriend who is likely coming. You know, we're
Yeah.
still working that out. But you know, anybody's welcome. You should come,
Yeah.
Tony.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well,
know,
no, I'm certainly planning for a an Octagon show this year. So yeah, I'll best endeavors. Yeah,
the
it depends when
fingers,
it is. That's the yeah that's
the,
the
the fingers crossed. Like what I'm really hopeful for is the Detroit Lions, which is the NFL team where
yeah,
we are.
yeah.
They're playing a game in Munich in
Okay.
November against the New England Patriots. And like my fingers crossed is
Everything
Octagon
aligns.
show.
Yeah, yeah,
Octagon has a show in November somewhere in Germany. I could fight and then the next day go to the Lions game. That'd be the best thing ever.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, that's it for now. Just training, getting ready for this next one, and then you know, there's hopefully a November show or they're having a show at Deutsche Bank Park in Frankfurt,
yeah.
which would be amazing to be a part of. So
Yeah, and just sort of final question, Jack, because appreciate your time. For anyone who's not seen you and is tuning in for the first time when you fight later this year in Octagon, what can fans expect?
fast heavyweight, I move well, I'm quick, I hit hard, I'm throwing crazy shots. I'm trying to knock people out with head kicks. I mix my wrestling in. You know, these guys just aren't fast enough for me. I'll be in on a shot and I'll be back up on my feet hitting them. So expect a knockout, expect a TKO, expect a violent submission. I'm here. I'm not flying to Europe. I'm not flying to Germany to just fight guys to a 15-minute decision. If Octagon's, paying me to come fight, I'm fighting to knock dudes out.